The Holiness of Saint Joseph, in the Writings of Father Faber, by Monsignor Arthur B. Calkins. Perhaps more than any other source, it is the French school which led Frederick William Faber to an exceptionally profound appreciation of the role of Saint Joseph in salvation history. Of capital importance for Faber was the holiness of Saint Joseph, first the great holiness with which he began his life, and then his growth in holiness. Let us allow the great preacher to discourse on the initial holiness of Joseph. We can give no name to the character of his sanctity. We cannot compare him with any other of the saints of God. As his office was unshared, so was his grace. It followed the peculiarities of his office. It stood alone. He was to Mary among men what Gabriel was to her among angels, but he came nearer to her than Gabriel, so that probably, if we could perceive it, there was an analogy between his holiness and that of the beloved disciple. But his sanctification is hidden in obscurity. It is probable that he had received the gift of original justice, as the Baptist had, though whether it was restored to him before birth, as with John and Jeremias, we cannot tell. It is becoming to think also that by a special grace he was preserved from venial sin. It is most certain that he was a peculiar vessel of the divine predilection, eternally predestined to a singular and incomparably sublime office, and laden with the most magnificent of graces to fit him for that office. For wonderful as was his office to Mary, his office to Jesus far surpassed it, unless, as is more true, the former was but a portion of the latter. He stood to Jesus visibly in the place of the Eternal Father. Here it may be noted that Faber does not claim for Joseph the grace of the Immaculate Conception, but an analogous grace befitting his unique role. As theologians had speculated for centuries about Mary's growth in grace from the moment of her conception, so does Faber about Joseph. He was doubtless high in sanctity before his espousals with Mary. God's eternal choice of him would seem to imply as much. During the 9 months, the accumulation of grace upon him must have been beyond our powers of calculation. The company of Mary, the atmosphere of Jesus, the continual presence of the incarnate God, and the fact of his own life being nothing but a series of ministries to the unborn Word, must have lifted him far above all other saints, and perchance all angels too. Our Lord's birth and the sight of his face must have been to him like another sanctification. The mystery of Bethlehem was enough of itself to place him among the highest of the saints. Facts about the life of Saint Joseph, with which all Christians are familiar, become, under the penetrating analysis of Faber, a reason for marveling at the holiness of the carpenter of Nazareth. In the following text he explains further the reasons for Joseph's unique holiness. The nearer a thing is to God, the more blinding is the light in which it lies, and therefore the more assiduous and patient must the study of it be. Hence it is that nothing requires so much study as the sacred humanity of Jesus, and, next to him, the chosen mother of his humanity. Very nigh indeed to them come the tranquil magnificence and unruffled depths of Joseph's sanctity. It is this then which occupies the center of the cave of Bethlehem, holiness in one person and in two natures, the incarnate Word and the infant Creator. This is the object of our wonder, our love, our thanksgiving, our most absolute adoration. He has around him, almost blended in his beauty and his light, two worlds of created holiness, vast and glorious, both of them without parallel. In one of these worlds, he has dwelt himself for 9 months, and out of its material, he has vouchsafed to draw the materials of his own created body and blood. The other of these worlds he has placed near him, hardly outside the mystery of the Incarnation, as the outpost to defend him, as the satellite to minister to his mother and himself, as the shadow, under whose safeguard and concealment the mystery might be operated in the way most suitable to the divine perfections, as the shadow of the eternal Father following him from heaven. These three worlds form one system, which we name the hierarchy of the Incarnation. Theologians have been bold enough to name these three worlds of holiness the earthly Trinity, and the usage of the saints and of devotional writers has now consecrated the reverently daring language. Mary and Joseph are two worlds of created holiness without parallel. With Jesus at the center, they are part of the hierarchy of the Incarnation, and together they may be referred to as the earthly Trinity, a description to which Faber repeatedly returns.